Hi guys, what's up? It's Robo down in the cage. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at the brand new Rogue Rhino Rack Trainer that I got in my basement. Before we take a look at some of the specs of this thing, I'm just going to kind of talk about some of the cost and lead times, things like that. So this has a couple different options. This is just the Rhino Rack Trainer. It has the Rhino belt squat, the lat pull down, and then the low row. They have one that's a functional trainer as well. I did not get that. So this one starts at around 5K, and then based on some of the upgrades you can get pretty crazy with it. Get the whole thing stainless steel. It can get up to like $10,000. So there is a lot of variability in that. It's like an extra like $2,500. I think I'll put prices on the screen to get the functional trainer components as well. The lead time right now is 12 to 16 weeks. If you buy it right now on the Rogue site, mine came in 13 weeks pretty much exactly. The construction on this to actually assemble it, Rogue has a video on their YouTube. They say that it takes 2 to 3 hours to assemble. That's a load of crock. This thing took probably 10 hours for me, my brother-in-law, maybe more than 10 hours if I'm being honest. But we did a lot of stuff like wrong and had to redo a lot of components and realign things, and definitely didn't listen to the don't do more than hand tighten it before it's fully assembled. So there's a lot of untightening and disassembling and reassembling, things like that. But really a pain in the butt to assemble this thing. But that's what you get when this thing is heavy duty as hell, and that's really a giant pro of this thing. So really once it's all put together, you're like, it was really worth it. The footprint on it, it's a massive one. There's a lot of different rack depths and stuff you can get. There's 24 inches, 30 inches, and 43 inches. I got the 43-inch one. So it's obviously the biggest footprint pretty much you can get. It's about 8.5 feet wide because you do need extra room in the back to load plates onto the Rhino horn. And then it's just going to be like your standard Rogue rack with the width like 46 inches. But again, you're going to want room on both sides. So real quick, before I get into this rack specifically, I do want to talk about why I kind of opted not to get the Rhino trainer with the functional trainer component of it. Really the main reason why is I thought that the only movement that it added was a pullover row. Like a cable cross chest fly. I don't know why I said pullover row. Because of the fact that this one in particular already has a high and a low cable, you could pretty much do all of the tricep work, all of the bicep work, shoulder work, accessory work that you want to do on this. I guess your starting point is a little bit less ideal. If you want to do like a tricep push down, you can't center mass it down to like your chest. A starting spot here. But for me, in my perspective, the main benefit of having a functional trainer is like those cable stacks components to it, ease of supersets, having people, you can do a lat movement here while I'm doing a tricep push down at the same time. And with the Rhino functional trainer that they currently released, you don't have that capability. All of the weight is going on the Rhino weight horn, so you don't really have that like separate stack options. The grandfather clock like pulley system they have is really cool idea, but they just released the INDY functional trainer, and that is the really appealing option. Like I would get this Rhino rack trainer and then throw the INDY on top. I looked at it today. I'm almost positive it would work. The cable stacks would go right here. Your cables would go on top and below, and then you would have a functional trainer coming out here with the ideal weight stack. So then you would be able to do separate movements at the same time, superset using the weight pins. And I'm sure those stacks probably go up to like 250 pounds. But you have the weight loaded lat, the weight loaded, the plate loaded belt, the plate loaded low row, where those really heavy movements where you're gonna max out the stack, you don't have to worry about it. So to me, that's like a really appealing option that Rogue just dropped. I think it's like just under $3,000. So it is comparable to the price of just getting the Rhino functional trainer add-on, but it's much more appealing in my opinion. So that is something that is super cool to consider. And I think that Rogue eventually will integrate that and sell it as an integrated unit. But I'm pretty sure you can hook it up right now. I'm pretty sure I can order the 43-inch 6-post rack version and hook it up to this Rhino right here, which is really cool. So it just gives you more and more variability that you can kind of add to the rack and make those functional components. I think like all of these companies are going to more all-in-one racks, and that's really cool. But the belt squat was something that they're all missing, and Rogue is kind of completing the entire picture. So that's kind of awesome to see. Let's talk about this rack specifically. So pretty much this is just like a standard RM6. The only difference is these back cross members here that actually connect to the Rhino have this curve. But if you just cut it off here and put a straight bar across and forgot the Rhino was here, from here out, it's pretty much just like a normal Rogue monster rack. This one is 90 inches with the 43-inch depth in the actual power rack here. But you have all the standard options, 90, 100, probably 110. I'm not positive that there's 110, but pretty much they probably have it. And then for the depths, you have 24 inches, 30 inches, and then 43 inches. The actual Rhino part, obviously is going to be 24 inches for everybody because that's the actual Rhino platform, so it's built to fit that. When you buy this, the accessories that it comes with, you get to pick like one set of safeties. It's going to come with the pin safeties, or you can pay to upgrade for the strap safeties. I think it's like an extra $150 to get this. This is what I was talking about previously. Like it starts at around 5K, but depending on what you kind of pick as you're checking it out in your cart, you can keep going up and up and up the price. These are the Ghost J-Cup rollers. It's going to come standard with just the Monster. You can upgrade to either these or the sandwich versions of the J-Cups. And then it's going to come stock with just a socket pull-up bar up top. What I did was I took the pull-up bar down and put another cross member at the top. Eventually, I'm going to get the Oak Club Campbell handles and use that as my pull-up handle. Shout out to Basement Brandon for designing those. But right here, what I have on them right now are just the band pegs that come with the Rhino. It works, but it's not the best thing in the world. It's kind of crappy on your hands, but for the time being, it works. It comes with 4 band pegs and then, what is it, 8 of these weight horns in the back for storage, which is really nice. And then these are obviously just some add-on accessories that I have, like the Sword X Bulldog, these Oak Club J-Cups. And then the utility roller is something that should probably come with the rack here that doesn't, but you can buy it at checkout and it's like an extra $345, I think. But it's pretty much a necessity, or you need something to hold your legs down for the lat pull down, and this is probably the best thing. I guess you can get 2 single rollers, like the split squat rollers. A couple different companies make that, but if you're buying this rack, you're probably going to get this utility roller. You can use it for a lot more than lat pull downs. This thing's honestly awesome. I know Coop has a video on it. Pro Tim made it. He's kind of like the Rhino god. If you don't follow him on Instagram and you have a Rhino, you should definitely follow Pro Tim. I'll link it in the description. Get a lot of ideas from him. But yeah, there's not much kind of from here back that makes this any different than just like your standard Rogue monster rack. It has the keyhole spacing, so you could use 5/8 inch or 1 inch like accessories on the side, the fronts, laser cut numbers, all that like standard Rogue stuff. But I kind of want to talk about specifically how I use this and what it's kind of brought and added to my training, as I did not have a cable system. I don't have a functional trainer. I don't have a Voltra. What I had was pretty much just the Spud Inc. pulley and a weight horn previously. So I want to talk about how I've used this and how it's been an upgrade for me in the cage. So obviously there are a lot of pros to this thing. As someone who didn't have a functional trainer or really a cable system, no Voltra down here, unfortunately. Those things are super cool, but I do not have one. That was something that was really missing from my training once I kind of left those commercial settings and started lifting exclusively in my basement. So this brings a lot of variability that I did not have kind of easily accessible in my training. Things like, cable hammer curls using a tricep rope, all of those tricep push downs, single arm two arms, a straight arm lat, all of those shoulder movements, you know, a front cable raise, a side cable raise, an upright row. Literally the list goes on and on. So the fact that I'm able to do these now with this plate loaded Rhino, as well as having those primary movements that this thing is advertised for, like the belt squat, like the lat pull, like the low row, it's really awesome. I think that this is kind of a missing feature that it's not missing, but Rogue dropped the ball on advertising the Rhino for years, because it really is just a low pulley. It is so much more than a belt squat, but it is a belt squat. That is the main thing, and that's obviously going to be, you know, the main driving force to getting one of these things is going to be the belt squat component. Again, it's something that I have in my program twice a week. It is going to be my main accessory for squats, probably for the rest of my life. And then it also allows you to squat hopefully forever. You know, like as you get older, you don't want to squat with a lot of pressure and force on your spine. So using a belt squat as an accessory is awesome. Plus of all the other leg work that you're able to do this. If you follow Pro Tim on Instagram, you'll see you're able to do leg extensions, all sorts of types of RDLs with this thing, Bulgarian split squats. Again, really just using the high pulley and the low pulley and nothing else, you can get a full body workout. Just today, I pretty much just messing around with this thing. I got an ab workout in, a full shoulder workout, and full arms with it. Just messing around, seeing all the different setups I can do, you know, pulling a bench up into this and setting up the low pulley for skull crushers, things like that. I've been super pleasantly surprised with how smooth everything is felt. At times, you do have to kind of tinker with the bolts on the like rollers of the Rhino. You can either tighten and loosen it to get a smoother cable feel and pull, but once you kind of set it to a setting that feels right for you, you kind of leave it and it's set up. But at first it does take some tinkering to get that, you know, super smooth feel. But once you have it set up, really every single movement I've done on this has felt awesome. Really the only con is setting up the low row, and some of the stuff switching between workouts is a little bit annoying. I don't think that the cable is long enough to set up the low row without messing up the cable really and scratching it. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about in a little bit. But also this is like a well-documented hack with the Rhino, just putting like bungees on it. So as soon as you pull the cable, the arms will snap back, giving you that full range of motion. And then once you're done with the set, you just push it. Another con, I guess you could see it as a con, is the starting weight of the trolley itself is like 27 pounds. So it is a little bit heavy for some movements. Like if I wanted to do a single arm side raise, to start at 27 pounds is a little bit heavy. And then it is a little bit heavy for other people that want to use this rack as well, just might not be able to do everything with that starting weight at 27 pounds, like a bicep curl or tricep push down. So depending on people's strength, it might limit the amount that they're able to use the pulleys, but for me it's usually just like one or two things that I'm not able to do because of that starting weight, like a single arm side raise. But again, it's just a nice excuse to get stronger so that you can do that. But yeah, the safety, again, why it doesn't really work for the low row is it just needs one more setting higher that it doesn't have. But I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about, and then I'll also show you like this little hack that I have, because really it's best to set it up with two people. If you just have someone lifting the trolley like this, you'll extend your cable and then you're not going to have a problem. But if you're by yourself, it is a little bit annoying. So I'll kind of show you now the hack that I'm talking about. Okay, to put the low row in, essentially at the front of the Rhino platform, there's just a bracket that has two holes and then slits going down. And then the foot plate has these two little knobs. So you just slide the knobs in the holes and then wiggle it down. And it's pretty easy once it's aligned. But one of the massive oversights on Rogue's part is that once the the belt squat Rhino horn is in the safety position, even if it's at its tallest position, there's not enough slack in the cable to really set up the low row. Again, I said the trolley's 27 pounds, so to do it, you need to pull the trolley and then just jam it in. You see, the ball doesn't fit underneath here. So there's a lot of force on these edges when you're trying to jam your cable in, and it's gonna fray the cable at this end spot. You'll see I actually have Gorilla Tape at the very end underneath the ball so that it doesn't get any damage there, because just from doing it, like forcing it the first 2 times as I was trying to figure this thing out, I kind of put a little dent in the cable, and I obviously want to preserve that for as long as I can. So in thinking, how do I fix Rogue's problem for them, I came up with this little hack. So what you do is you take one of the band pegs that it came with the Rhino, you put it on the back here. If you have 2 people, if you're training with someone else, just have them lift the weight horns as they're setting it up to give you that extra slack in the cable, and then you won't have a problem. But if you're by yourself, there's obviously no way for you to lift this up and set that up at the same time. So what you're gonna do is take the weight horn or the band peg, put it in the back, lift the weight horn, hook it up to the band peg. So now you gave yourself slack in the cable. And now with that extra slack, it's really easy just to do it properly. It slides in through the top and then back in. And from here, you can put your cable in, or I mean your low row attachment. Push it back. And now you're set up. You can load the weight and do a weight horn. But, I mean, do a low row, do a weight horn, do a low row. But it makes no sense why there's not enough slack in the cable. Like, why do you have to hook up your weight horn to a band peg for you to do that comfortably and not damage the equipment? I don't know. I actually saw on the Home Gym Facebook place or group, whatever, Tanner was commenting a lot about horse stalls mats, but in between his post, there were a couple people talking about how they ran into this same problem. They were asking if other people had it. So I don't think it's just an issue with my rack. Let me know if you have one of these in the comments below if you have the same issue. But this seems to work well. It's not the most ideal setup in the world. It'd be really nice just to kind of do it, but it is an option, or a fix rather than an option. It is something that you can do, but it is annoying that you have to do it, and it kind of just triggers me. But the actual foot plate itself is really nice. The low row setup is really nice. You see at the top here, it has these angles, so you can pull a bench to it and then do seated rows from the bench. You don't have to sit on the floor, which is a really nice option. That's really the only con that I found of this thing. So overall, it's a pretty small issue, especially because that fix is pretty easy. But again, it is something just to know and to note, and it is something that over time, I think will damage the cable and fray the cable. They do have like UHMW caps on the 2 lips here, but I'm not sure that the actual like liner where, I'll show you here, where the cable goes in. This liner here, I'm not sure has any protection, but these caps have UHMW. So it is something to know. It is something that is a little bit annoying, but it's not a huge issue. And then let's just show you how easy it is to kind of reset it up or take it down. So put the cable in. I'm going to undo this carabiner just for the sake of ease, and then it just goes down, up, and the same way you wiggle it in, you're just going to wiggle it out and lift, and then pull it towards you, and it comes out pretty quick. This thing is heavy though. It's probably like 25 pounds, maybe more. But yeah, comes in and out, and then I do like that it does have that angle piece so you don't always have to sit on the floor. And also too, if you just wanted to pull up a bench to here. You could probably do seated rows from this. I don't think that this angle would be bad, but if you want to do anything super linear, I would avoid the cable trying to rubbing on this diamond thread. I think that that would damage it over time. There is a roller here that should minimize it, but again, I do think that you kind of want to avoid your cable wearing on these like sharp metal edges. But that's kind of it. I mean, overall, obviously this thing is a total beast. I'm super happy to have it down in the cage. I think my favorite part about it is obviously the belt squat component. That's what got me gravitated towards this thing. It's a main part of my program. It's something I'm going to use all the time. Something that if you power lift, I really recommend as an accessory. I think belt squat's awesome. Probably the #1 squat accessory in my opinion. But yeah, I'm super excited to have a belt squat in the cage as something at my disposal all the time. And all the other stuff that goes along with it, really tough to beat. This is something that I think is going to add a lot to my training, and it makes me really happy. So it was a good choice for me. If it's a good choice for you, that's going to vary depending on your situation and what you want to get out of a rack. But again, I couldn't be more happy that I made this decision. I'm happy that this thing came. I'm happy it's set up. That's the main thing. We're done. We never have to do that again. That's not true. We're probably gonna have to do it again eventually. But for now, it's set up and it's in place and it's sturdy as hell. And I'm happy to have it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. It's been Robo in the Cage. Peace.